Hello everyone, this is Eric.
And this is Cindy.
Today we're going to give you an update on our 3 years of living in the Philippines. Well, the journey began about 3 years ago in September of 2020. This was during the pandemic period, and there were a lot of restrictions going on in California at that time. You couldn't really go out for entertainment. You could only go to the grocery store, go to places that they had deemed being essential. We were spending the majority of our time going to the beach near the Berkeley Pier and also in the park because there was just not much to do at that time. We decided to try to leave there in June of 2020, but we couldn't get out because they were canceling flights, and we had to just wait it out till we could get a flight, and we finally got one in September of 2020.
And during that period, a lot of people were not able to work. Well, some of them are able to work from home, but majority of the people in the States are unable to work. And a lot of companies are laying off their workers as well.
After arriving here, we had to adjust, and so we're going to give you some tips on how we learned to live here.
Number one, don't expect Philippines will be like the USA or the America. For example, the customer service. In the Philippines, customer service could be sometimes bad. For example, you wanted to know any services or products up front and you were calling around to see if they have it available or something like that. But most or a lot of companies don't even have a phone number or a telephone line for you to contact. Most of the times you have to drive there and check if they have the availability of the products you need, or you can ask questions personally. Second example is the food quality. Just like we have Burger King here, don't expect that the burger will taste the same and the fries will taste the same. Also, don't expect that whatever you get in the States, how big the burger is, it's not going to be the same here.
Next, prepare yourself to adjust to the culture and everyday living here in the Philippines. Now, for example, you'll have to adjust yourself to speaking or saying your words twice, sometimes 2 or 3 times to get the person to understand exactly what you mean.
Sure.
Now, if you do have a Filipino wife, then you can get her to translate, and sometimes that really helps. But if you're in there and you're trying to go into an establishment alone, prepare yourself to say what you have to say at least twice. Okay?
Anyway, Filipinos, or a lot of Filipinos know how to speak English. It's just that some of them don't really understand you the first time. So you have to repeat yourself.
Yes, that's true. They do know how to speak English mostly, but they have to learn or discern different dialects that Americans speak in. Mm-hmm. And we talk in various tones and dialects from all across the country. Yeah. So they may have heard a word pronounced by a New Yorker that would be totally different than how it would be pronounced from a person in California.
That's true.
Another example of cultural adjustment is going to a Filipino gathering. You can't expect to have American food prepared there. You have to adjust to Filipino food and what they like. This is often like lechon baboy, which is roasted pork, which can be very, very good. They tend to really enjoy that here, especially in Cebu. They will roast a whole pig over a coal slowly. And the bigger the pig is, the bigger the celebration, so to speak. Some Americans will enjoy that and some won't, because the skin is actually a delicacy. It tastes good, but it is fattening. And so you will have to be prepared to adjust to the foods here. Oh, and one thing that they like at gatherings is spaghetti. However, Filipino spaghetti is somewhat sweet. The sauce is not uh, Italian style or tangy like we're normally used to in the States.
True.
It's mostly sweetened.
Yes, just want to add something on that. Filipino food could be very unhealthy for you. We like sweets. Even spaghetti is sweet for us. We like fruit salad, a lot of sweets in it, a lot of sugar, condensed milk. Also for the food, it's fat, it's fatty, it's high cholesterol content. But we have learned, in gatherings, I will prepare something for him, like American food. That's how we have learned over the time.
Another tip of how we learn how to live here is to do a budget financially. Prepare financially, do a budget with your living expenses, and try to stick to that budget as much as possible.
Yes.
But the main thing is to take everything into account. Another example of being financially prepared that we've learned is to prepare for the unexpected. For example, you're going to have an emergency fund. Believe it or not, there will be expenses that you'll incur that are unexpected, and that's usually on a regular basis. So we highly recommend saving for an emergency fund. Also, we've learned that you need to pay for your own health insurance here as an American. Filipinos, they have Field Health, which they can get some really great coverage here, but I'm not sure if it's all available in a private hospital or not. But as far as an American, you're going to want to have a policy that will allow you to go into the hospital and not have to have a cash outlay.
That's important.
That's very important because a lot of times they want you to have a deposit. If you don't have this type of insurance, they'll want you to have a deposit before they begin to treat you. And sometimes that could be 30 to 50,000 pesos, which is about $600 to $1,000. And then they'll turn around and ask for another one after that's exhausted. After you've been treated, they may even try to detain you until you pay your bill.
It's unfortunate.
Supposedly this is illegal, but as I understand it, if you ask for a private room, then you waive that privilege of just being able to leave whenever you want. So other things that we've learned along the way is to keep up with your important documents. For example, prior divorce documents such as an annulment, copy of your annulment, certificate of divorce, also your marriage certificate, and any other documents that you have brought from your home country. Also, like your NBI clearance, which is a document that you need from the Philippines that they want you to have. It's like the FBI here, but it's called the NBI. But if you keep up with these documents, you'll be asked for these documents numerous times, even when you don't expect it. Opening bank accounts, for example, you will be asked for these documents on a regular basis. And some of them won't make sense to you as an American because usually, for example, we go in to open a bank account, we only need one ID, maybe two at the most.
Yeah.
You sit there at the desk, at the banker's desk, and you may be there an hour at the most, and you'll come out of there with your bank account and also a temporary debit card. Now, that is very, very rare here. If you get a debit card here, it's not going to be given to you the first day. And the number of documents that you're going to need are going to be listed on a piece of paper. And you'll have to most likely go into the bank one time just to pick up that list and then come back home and start working on gathering those documents before you can safely go back in and try to open an account.
It's funny, but it's true. Also, we have learned strategies to lower our rent rates. Also, lowering expenses such as electric bills and other utilities and groceries. So, what we have learned in the past 3 years of our stay here is the location where to get your or where to live that will be best suited for you. Like if you want the city life or you want the province life. We have learned where exactly we want to be. Also, to get the lower rates, it's not going to be very expensive and it's not going to be real cheap and far away from the city because we like the city life. Other stuff like utilities, we have learned that you have to have your own meter here, electric meter. Because a lot of apartment establishments or landlords who's going to charge you extra for the kilowatt hour of your electricity usage. So you have to have your own electric meter. And you have to also ask for transparency with the landlord as well for how much is your charge for the electricity per kilowatt hour. Also for the groceries, we have learned to shop not to the most expensive places. Like we still go to Robinsons for special goods, but some other products that we have to buy in the market make that we purchased it there as much as possible so that we don't have to pay the high-end price at the mall.
Yes, and I'll just add to that. One of the tips that we want to give, we found out that to get the cheapest rent rate, most likely you're going to have to get the apartment bare or unfurnished.
Yes.
That means you're not going to get any refrigerator, you're not going to get any air conditioning, you're not going to get any furniture in the apartment. You can get the bare bones rate at that point for the flat or apartment.
Mm-hmm. Also, keep the contacts that you have with the plumber, the aircon installer, water heater installer, because you're gonna need it.
All right. So, in summary, overall, we have adjusted to living in the Philippines pretty well. I don't think that we regret leaving there during the pandemic in 2020. We have had good family support here. And we really realize the importance of being in a country where English is widely spoken.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important. With the current problems that are going on in California with the crime and housing, it's such bad news that are coming out of California. We're glad that we made that decision to leave in 2020 and come here. Mm-hmm. And we remain steadfast on being committed to living in the Philippines.
It's true.
So, thank you everybody for coming in, and I just want to give you an update on the past 3 years. This is our 3-year anniversary for living in the Philippines. It started in September 2020, and now it's September 2023.
Also, if you have decided to retire here in the Philippines as well, we have a video for you, the 5 necessities of transitioning here in the Philippines. Check that out.
And thank you once again. This is Eric.
And this is Cindy.
And signing out.